Okay. Epidemic sound. It's pretty, I like to listen to that when I'm just hanging around. We'll just cut it back a little bit so that we can hear Jimmy. And in the background, in the upper corner here, who do we have? We have our leader, Mr. President. He's giving a speech. It is a replay of a speech that he gave about 2 weeks ago. A CPAC, Conservative Political Action Committee. And this, whoops, sorry. He's speaking, he's speaking to about 5,000 people packed in a room. And they're all a bunch of conservatives. So you can imagine what's going on there. And today has been, this week, I have finally assembled all my pieces for my, that was one of the last ones, so that I have see this guy that says Hydromix. No, I'm not using that. It's a different, we're using Novolog. And then what this thing has this is a freeze pack that doesn't freeze. And it can handle up to 2 insulin pens. And the cap says 2 degrees centigrade, which is like 35 degrees, something like that. 0 degrees centigrade is freezing. We do not want to freeze insulin. So I'm using a insulin pen, like something like that. Let's see if I can come down here into my history of my pictures. There it is. It's something just like that. There's a gauge. So you dial it to 1, 2, 3 units. Take 2 units before a meal that has, starch in it, and rice, things like that break down into glucose. And then here's a needle. I've taken it out of that cap. So instead of throwing it away, I kind of saved it. And you pull this off, boom, and you get a really fine needle. I can get the camera to focus on that, and you might be able to see it against. Yeah, it's really. Try to hold it up to something bright or dark. Doesn't matter. It's too fine. It's the diameter of 2 human hairs. So it's very thin. It's interesting that the end of the cap, if we can get to it, it's out of focus. Oh, there we go. So it's a very interesting design because you screw it onto the cartridge and there's a needle there. So that punctures, rubber seal into the insulin thing. And then this needle, it's the same needle, comes through and you stick yourself on the stomach with that, and the needle is very thin and lubricated. This is disposable. I just saved it to show you, but you can see it in my hand. It's a very compact device. There's an exploded view of it. The 4 millimeters, 32 grams, 32 gauge, sorry, which is 5/32. So 5/32 relates to the 4 millimeters. That's the length. It's real short. So you stick it in your fatty tissue in your stomach area. Keep moving it around as you take shots. I took my first shot this morning. Needle is very fine. So it has a protective cover. You screw it on and you pull that off. And then it reveals an additional, so you can get the pen all set up. If you're going out to lunch or something. Which Marilyn had her tooth pulled yesterday, so she's I don't think we're going out for lunch. So it comes in a box. I have the box somewhere. I'll show it to you in another day in line. But there's the Echo. And the Echo, I'm like right on the line of being, what do you call it, on the fence, pre-diabetic. He says, nah, you're diabetic. Going back and forth with the doctor. He says, no, Jimmy, you're diabetic. Pre-diabetic, your A1C is like 6.5. You're 7.0. And that's 0.5 too many. So this is how it's packaged. It's, a 5-pack thing. And there's what the cartridge looks like. There it is. Novolog. In the United States, it's Novolog. Out of the United States, it's Novo Rapid. And Rapid, the same thing, just different names because of the country. And the Novo Rapid and Novolog. So in London, it's Nova Rapid. And the same exact stuff, just a different, same company, same manufacturer, It's a company that is, I think in Denmark. And it's really his logo of the parent company that creates this stuff. Anyway, so I'm, it's kind of new to me, but I'm a scientist, so I pay attention. Here's another pen, KWIK, Quick Pen. That's by Eli Lilly. They're trying to play catch up, I think, with Novo Disc. How about that for a plane crash? Holy mackerel! Crash. That's a big engine. That's like a 757 just happened to hit a bridge. Let's see if I know. No, I don't see the date when the picture was taken. That date there is the date that I drafted from the internet. When I was browsing around, that thing caught my eye. I said, "Holy, let's take a second look at that baby." So a big flurry about it. There's Trump up there talking, and there's DeSantis. They're in Iowa. He's hawking his book. He has a new book, DeSantis does. And of course, he released it right in the middle of the campaign season. So he has not called himself a candidate yet. He's going to wait till the legislature closes out in Florida. They got some work to do. But at the end, I think of March or April, the legislature conducts its business, and then they'll give the governor of Florida, DeSantis, a little breathing room. And then, in the meantime, he's traveling around. He's, doing the Iowa straw poll. He's within 2 points of Trump. I like Trump. He's a tough guy. Well, so is DeSantis. But he's a little nicer tough. Trump is, in New York, I came from Brooklyn. He came from Brooklyn. The New York guys are tough. They don't take no for an answer, and they'll bite around your ankles until you're walking on your knees. He's a tough guy. So because of that, he creates, he gets people all, on the other side very excited. DeSantis is a little smoother operator. Trump made DeSantis, I must say. He made politic for DeSantis 4 years ago when he first got elected governor. And, that was, and he won a very purple state. He barely won, but he did win. And it created quite a, but he won by 1%. It was a real thin victory. And, you didn't know whether he won or he didn't win unless you stayed up late. And when they got to Jacksonville County, which is all very purple, almost blue, and see how that would weigh up against Pensacola and so forth, which is, a little more red. So Florida's an interesting state. It's got the entire demographics of the United States all wrapped up in one state. That's the fourth largest in the country with, 29 million people, I think. It's a lot of people. And so he's trying to figure out so anyway, when he ran the second time, which was just this last election, he won big by over 20 points. It's one of the biggest. You almost call it a landslide victory. Completely annihilated his competition. There was a colored lady that just, I thought, touted every Democratic talking point that you can have. Whatever she could do to muster up the votes, and it didn't work. It just didn't work. There's too many people that liked what DeSantis did. He kept the schools open. He never shut the state down. All the business, restaurants, they were all operating. Now, various municipalities may have required a mask. Our mayor had mask requirements if you're out in the public. not walking around the street, but when you go into a restaurant or you go into a store, got to pop that mask on. So that happened. That was about as worse as it got for about 4 or 5 months, and then they decided the masks. There was no big spike in the outbreaks of the virus in Florida with or without the mask. So it's kind of determined that the mask doesn't really do any good. So they stopped. Florida stopped even with the mask. So. But you go into a doctor's office today, and they all got masks on, even though they're useless. I think it's your hands. You touch things, rub your nose, rub your eye. It gets into your this part of your body. It doesn't really enter into, like if you had an open wound or something on your hand. I got a little boo-boo right there, but it's like sealed up, just like you put a scab, the skin to heal underneath the scab, and then that'll pop off. That's not an entryway generally for the virus. It's you touching doorknobs. You'd be surprised. All the stuff the doorknobs to get into the garage. Oh, everybody that goes in the garage got to get their hand on that same lever or the doorknob or pushing elevator buttons. I push elevator buttons with my knuckle because you really don't put your knuckle up around your nose. It's usually, so if you carry, which I do, this kind of thing, where you got your little stuff that you wash your hands with. This is 80% alcohol, and you do that, and that kills all those little germs. So you do that before you want to rub your face. You're in your residence. So if you kill the bugs before you start touching everything in your house, chances are you're going to keep yourself from getting the virus. I went into the hospital in December, mid-December, with I had coughing my brains out and had all this mucus and stuff in it. Had all the check marks as if I had the virus. So I go to the hospital and said, screw this. At my age, I'm not going to be hanging around dropping dead over the weekend. So I went in there on a Thursday, and they admitted me. They gave me every test known to man, and admitted me, to clear my acute bronchitis. And then they noticed my blood sugar wasn't exactly up to speed, so that was a problem. Whoops, sorry. And then they noticed that my blood oxygen was a little low, so they sent me home with an oxygen tank and said, your oxygen drops, you suck on this for a while. So I got my oxygen tubes right here. So it blows out. You see, I taped them together and I just let it blow into my nose. I don't really put that thing around the ears. Screw that. That's too annoying. I don't think I even. No. I cut it off both of them because I just don't do it. I guess you're laying in your bed and you're in ambulatory and you wear it. If you're just, going in for an operation or coming out of an operation, you wear that. That gives you oxygen. After I had my quadruple bypass, they had me in a room, intensive care room, where the oxygen came through the hose at 30 30 liters a minute. That's a lot of oxygen. That's like, you're sucking down not exactly pure oxygen, but it's pretty close to it. Because when you breathe in, there's a 30 liters a minute is it's coming through those outlets so hard and fast. When you breathe in, you're basically breathing in oxygen, and you're probably 75% oxygen. If you were to measure it out. Anyway. So anyway, I started my insulin thing. Took a little shot in my stomach here before I had my 4 cookies and coffee. I actually had my 5 oatmeal raisin. So since I have my blood sugar protection, now I'm not quite as concerned if I have a regular meal or a snack or whatever. If I have a banana, oh my God, does the blood sugar go up? Wow, I was really amazed. I guess, you drink orange juice, your blood sugar goes right through the roof. And so if you're going to have a banana and orange juice or whatever, give yourself a couple of units of insulin before you do that behavior. And your blood sugar will kind of even out a little bit. Let's see how I'm doing right now. I think I have there it is right here. I can get it on my iPad. Yeah, that's it. See, my blood sugar was right up here. Like 6, 7. That's 8 a.m. And I took the insulin right about the same time. Whoosh, brought it right down to 91. That's perfect. So I went over 200. Gave myself. I didn't do it before. I did a little bit after. But if you want to keep this graph, I can't expand it. See, you can see it on your screen there. If you want to keep it so it never gets up there, you give yourself the shot right before you eat the cookies and milk. And then as the blood sugar is going up, the insulin is going to basically permit that blood sugar to get into your system. It's like a trigger. So, when you get a little older, your pancreas gets a little tired, I guess. So this is giving it a little help. Now, some people, the pancreas just ain't producing the insulin. So they got to give themselves quite a bit, regular, 4 times a day. They take, 5, 10, 15 units 4 times a day because they're not getting insulin any other way. So that keeps the graph, down. So you really got to titrate that pretty carefully. So I have a continuous glucose monitor on my arm. It's a little doodad. Oops, sorry. I kept a copy of that. Here it is. In case you missed it last time. It's a little devil. It's this big. Look at the size of that. Now it's got a device that kind of puts it on your arm. It's about this big. And when you touch it, bam, it pops it onto your arm. And a little needle in here. They call it a flexible needle. So you put it on underneath your arm. I have one on this one. So it runs for 2 weeks exactly. And then it turns on. So you got to put it. Okay. It's round. Pick it up later. So that's the latest from Abbott Laboratories. There's a competing unit that's much bigger. It's this big. It's as big as a silver dollar. Jam it underneath your arm. And it's much bigger. Produces the same kind of graphics though. See, Libre Link Up. That's so you can. Your doctor can give log information, and they put Libre Link Up into their phone or their device at work. I have it right here. So you on the app that you use, Freestyle Libre 3. So you put that on there, and then you touch it to the phone. So the near field communications activates the device that goes on your arm, and then every 5 minutes, it sends your blood sugar over to this app. And you can see these daily graphs, pretty dramatic. And you see, I don't know if you can see it. I can't see it on this one, but at the bottom of this app, it says the sensor that I have in my arm is good for 7 more days. So it works for 2 weeks, and then it shuts off. And you got to put another one up there because it's got a limited battery. So it doesn't want to have, the readings, because when you turn off the thing, it screams. Listen. Hear that? Yeah. So it tells you it came off. Your app turned off. So it says turn it back on because the arm thing needs to send the signal to somebody, and the app needs to be on all the time. So it's on all the time. As long as I got one of these suckers on my arm, I have the app running. But it's a dandy of as a mathematician, biochemist that I am. It shows a graph of my average glucose. It's it's always up there. 145, 147. So it can give pretty good advice. Here's my on my last 7 days. They call it the glucose management indicator, the GMI, but it's the A1C that Abbott Laboratories. They don't want to call it A1C because their formulas are not exactly the same. And Abbott says, I like our formulas better. So look at that, 6.9, the last 30-day running average. Now that's going to come down because I am now, as of this morning, I'm going to be managing my insulin level, with these units. So if I'm going to have a bowl of soup with pasta in it, which I'm going to make up some pasta, I got chicken noodle soup, and I think I'll make some of that right, soon, in a couple of minutes. So I'll keep you posted. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap this up for this Saturday morning. It's getting on to, you're going to do this for 30 minutes just to make sure everything's working. Everything is working. And the epidemic sound is in the background. It's a royalty-free music. This particular tune runs for 30 minutes. I'm sorry. It runs for 3 hours. And let's see. So I can Yeah, I mean, this is like halfway through. I zoomed it ahead. Can't probably, you don't see it on your thing. But, so that's pretty cool. Music is really good. All right, well, I may tune in to you early tomorrow morning. Like 6:30. How about that? And with that, I'll leave you with some epidemic.